So I want to take you back to something simple and something basic. I want to take you back to the fundamentals of where I got started, right? Because it's something I feel like there's so many things that I try to touch on. There's so many things that I think different people are trying to do. And a lot of us, when it comes down to it, we're all trying to do the same thing. But you know what? Where I started is actually something fundamentally different. It's something so simple. It's something so basic. And it's something not everybody's doing. I started reselling. I've talked about it before. How in the beginning, my very first business was an eBay store. I launched an eBay store. I had no idea what I was doing. My uncle was really successful and he kept pushing me. Why are you working for the man? You're trying to go to college and work, 40 hours a week and 50 hours a week and 55, 60 hours a week. You're trying to do all this while you're going to college. It's like, how you stop working for the man and start making some money already. And I'm like, I'm working a job and I'm making money. And he was like, no. Like, start working for yourself already. Make some real money. And I was like, make some real money? I was I was, to my mentality at the time, I'm 20 years old. No, I just turned 21. I'm 21. He'd been pushing me since I was about 19, telling me I needed to do it. But I kept just telling him, I was like, how am I gonna just launch this eBay business? And at the time I was like, this just really isn't for me. I don't wanna just go find stuff and sell it, right? And see, he happened to fall into it by fluke. That's right, he fluked into it. When I was 16, I'm gonna tell you a little story here. When I was 16, my mom and my stepdad split up, and my mom decided we're moving back to where family is, back down to Corpus, because we had moved around a lot because my stepdad was in the Army, so we got stationed here, there, kind of, a few different places. Not too many crazy places, but mostly around Texas and Arkansas. But anyways, so we decided at the time we're in San Antonio, and she's like, we're going back to Corpus. That's where her brother was, her mom was, like, let's go down there. And where she knows it's more affordable for, a single woman trying to figure things out, you know what I mean? So we went down there, and we stayed at my uncle's crib while she was trying to sign the lease and get everything worked out for our new apartment that we're gonna live in. We were at my uncle's crib, and me and my brother, we packed up the Sega. My brother had a Sega, and we had a bunch of games. We packed up the Sega and all the games in a backpack, and we had it all ready. We're like, wherever we go, we're gonna make sure this is the first thing. I'm 16, my brother's 14. It was like, this is our priority. This is what's getting unpacked first, right? So we get to my uncle's house, and we unload all these games and stuff, and we're like, he's like, I don't care if you go in my den. He had like this little side room in his house, and he was like, y'all can go in there, and he used it kind of as his office and whatever. But he was like, y'all can go in there, there's a TV, and y'all can play in there. And whenever he would come home from work, I was like, dude, you gotta come play with us, right? And he was like, dude, I haven't played since I was playing on an arcade machine, He's like, I'm not sure I know. And I was like, it's cool, you'll figure it out. And so he, to humor his two nephews, he came in there and played with us. And he played these games, and he started getting into some of the games and trying to figure things out. And he was like, I want to find new games I like. So he would stop on his way home at pawn shops, right? And he'd see them have a box back there. And my uncle had this way about him. He could convince people, he could talk people into things. So he'd go into this pawn shop. They have this box, this little plastic tub full of games, right? And there'd be like 30 cartridges in there. And they'd say like $10 a piece or $5 a piece or whatever, you know what I mean? And he'd be like, I'll give you $60 for the whole box. Not even remotely what they were asking. And somehow they'd be just like, sure. And they would just sell it. And he was like, I don't know what games to buy because I don't know any of these games. I haven't played any of these, but I'll bring them home and I'll test them, and then but he ended up with boxes and boxes of games, and he's like, what am I gonna do with all these games? So he figured out he could sell them on eBay and make some of his money back, and then he started making profit. And he's like, he quit his job. Kid you not. The man quit his job and started flipping video games. And then he realized, he had a treadmill and he had some exercise equipment, nothing crazy, but he had some stuff. There was a whole phase in his younger years that he got into bodybuilding and stuff. So he knew about fitness equipment, but he had only so much at his house. He had a few little things. And he was like, well, I need to get some good equipment. He's like, now that I'm making good money, I can get some good equipment. And he's like, oh, I could sell my old equipment and get new equipment. And he sold his old equipment, bought new equipment, and somehow came out with a profit. He was like, I made money. I upgraded my house and made money. And so he just was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this, right? And so he just kept doing it. He just kept doing it and kept doing it. Like I said, for him, it wasn't a business decision. It was a fluke. He was just trying to do things that he wanted to do and realized that he could make money doing it. But how many people have done this? How many people have just tried to do something they enjoyed and realized they could make money doing it? How many people have just been slinging, cooking up grub for their kids, and somebody came along and said, you know what, you should really brand that sauce, or you should really open a diner, or you should really, you know what I mean? Or how many people just grew up loving cars, thinking cars were the coolest thing, and then when they were a teenager, their early 20s, whatever, they spent so many time around cars that somebody said you should open a shop. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't know where these, sometimes it is literally just a passion that you have, and you just walk into what you love, right? My uncle, this worked for him because he got more of a thrill off of the hustle. Like, he would love to go to thrift stores and flea markets, and there was this one time, I kid you not, there was a flea market out in Corpus. It was right outside of town. And he would go there every now and then and check it out. But they were only, I don't remember, they were only open certain weekends. It was weird, but they had this weird schedule. But anyways, one day he went out there and he saw this old pinball machine. And he's like, I bet you that's worth some bank. And so he looked it up on his phone, right? He looked it up on his phone and he was like, no. This is before he had internet on his phone. That's right, he took pictures of it. And he's like, I'm gonna look it up when I got home. So he took a bunch of pictures. That's right, that was why it was so weird, and that's why he couldn't buy it, because he couldn't look it up. So he took some pictures of it on his phone. His phone had a camera, but he couldn't, And so he took some pictures of it, and then he went home, and when he got home, he saw that it was actually worth money. That it was worth like 4 times what they were asking for it. And he was like, oh dude, this is crazy. And so what he did is he took those pictures and he listed it. He listed it for sale. And he listed it for like top dollar, thinking, oh, well, nobody's gonna pay the highest price, right? So that'll give me a little time because somebody can maybe make me an offer. And if they make me an offer and they're interested, then I can go down and buy this thing, right? And so, so he literally in 2 days, he sold it for top dollar. And he was just like, oh my gosh, I hope they haven't sold it. Like, he almost like panicked a little bit. He's like, I hope they still have it because I got the money already. He's like, I already got their money. They bought it, they paid for it, and I've got to ship it out in 2 days. He's like, oh my goodness. And so he went, and they luckily enough, they still had it, but that gave him such a rush. He loved the thrill of hustling and dealing and finding like these little treasures, you know what I mean? And he loved going to yard sales and whatever, and he would just, anybody he'd find, he's like, just, can I talk him down? Like, it was just crazy. But so he's continued to pressure me and tell me, you gotta do this, Corey, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And I was like, I don't know about this though. This isn't something that's a desire of mine. And I finally gave in. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna do it. I need some more money to supplement because I can't keep working 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week. I just can't keep doing this. I mean, I can, but I don't want to because my grades are gonna suffer or my brain's gonna suffer. I'm gonna lose my mind. I need a break, right? So I was like, I need a break. I need to do this. So I decided I'm going in, right? And so I was like, I'm gonna take $50. Nothing crazy. I'm gonna take $50 out of my paycheck. I'm gonna go to a thrift store, right? I went to a Goodwill, I went to a Salvation Army, and I was just like, I just gotta find a few things that are under $50 that I can sell for more, right? And I looked around, and anyways, I found a couple things, and ultimately, it was a bust for me. I took these things back, and I was like, I'm gonna be proactive, right? I'm gonna be even more, because I knew my uncle was chaos. His stuff was all over the place. He always had to search for things when they sold. I was like, I only got a handful of things, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring them home. I'm gonna package them. I'm gonna get them all ready. I'm gonna get them ready and label packages. And I literally had my closet in my apartment. I had it filled with packages. And I slowly, each paycheck, I would take, $20, $30. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy a couple more things. And I'd have all these things, in my closet, and they'd all have these little tags on them telling me what they were, what item number they were, or what the name of the item or whatever. They all had something written on them so I could identify them. And then when they sold, I simply just dropped it on the scale. It weighs 3 pounds, 6 ounces, and printed a label, put it out the door. I mean, it was really simple. I thought I was being really efficient, but I was making no money. I was losing money. I was like, I keep dumping money into this crap and I'm making nothing. You've heard it before. I know you have. And it's one of those things that people throw around this phrase, and when they throw it around, a lot of people don't even take stock of what it really means. You've got to spend money to make money. Like, you really do. You really got to spend money to make money. But in a reselling business, people get online and people talk about it, and like Posh, I remember Posh for a little while had these little commercials. I don't even know if they have commercials anymore. I don't have cable. But they used to have commercials. It's like, oh, Posh or Macari. It's like, look, just clean out some stuff out of your old closet and you'll make some money and turn it into a business. It's like, it isn't that easy. I mean, it can be, but it rarely ever is. You're going to make little bits of cash, but you're not going to have a business. To legitimately have a business, what you've got to do is you've got to keep buying. You've got to keep buying. And you've got to keep buying, but as you buy, you must list, you must prepare, you must sell. But you must keep doing this. It's an endless cycle. You can't stop, because if you slow down, sales slow down. There's these things within the cookies in the search engine that ultimately it took me some learning. But the more frequent that you're actually updating listings, it bumps your listings up in the search engine. So literally nothing more than going into a listing and changing something to update it bumps it up. And that seems almost weird, like, why would I do that? It's because it's been accessed again. Every time your listing is accessed, it moves up in the search engine. And every time your listings are accessed, it bumps your store up in the search engine. So if you're listing 5-10 items a day, then you're bumping up notches every day. Yeah. That's how certain people can outsell other people. That's how, once I got to the point that I realized this, and I was like, because see, I was to the point that I was literally just, I would go buy some stuff and I'd spend all day and I'd list everything right away, which is not bad. It's not bad. But that stimulation of having listings every single day and never really slowing down actually stimulates more growth and more traffic and more sales, which is your ultimate goal, is to get more sales. That's going to do so much more than just having everything listed. Now, you want everything listed. I'll be the first to tell you that. So look, I'm kind of getting into some details here and there, but I really want to break these down into different categories and actually have a whole series. So I want y'all to tune in. If you're interested in supplementing your income or potentially growing into a reselling business, reselling is great. It really is. It's easy money to make once you put the work in. Once you get started, to get started is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort. You really need to put yourself into it. But once you get it going, it's easy money to make. It's unreliable. But as long as you keep moving and you stay focused, and you learn. You have to be willing to learn and grow as it happens. Like, learn. Lack of adaptation is what slows most people down. And that took a minute for me to learn. It literally did, because there was a hot minute where I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is the way I'm doing it. I see the way my uncle's doing it, and I want to be more efficient. I want to do this. There's certain things that he did that I was like, oh, he's doing that great. I want to do that. So I would take the things I liked and take the things I didn't like. And I was like, I'm doing the things I like. Things I don't like, I'm going to do it this way. And I didn't really want to adapt. I was like, this is where I want to keep it at. And see, what I learned also, just by watching him, is he did the same thing. He had the things he liked doing. I'm doing things this way. This is my way. Corey, you can do it your way, but this is my way. And he had so much more potential. There was a week where I came down and worked with him, and I was like, look, bro, you owe me some money. Just get it out there. I was like, Unc, you owe me some money. And I need that money today, because my business just took a hit. Kimberly just lost some clients. I need that money right now that you owe me. But I know that you don't have it, so I'm not trying to squeeze you, right? How about you tell me how I can help you help me, right? Yeah, you owe me money. I need to collect. But I don't want to be ugly. We're family. We're cool. I love you, man. Tell me how I can help you get into a position where you can afford to give me the money you owe me, and let's set things up, right? And I came down that week, and he was willing. He was like, all right, Corey, look, I know you have your way of doing things, and I have my way of doing things. He was like, we can work together in my store and do my products, and I'll let you kind of have some range to do things your way. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do things my way. And he did things his way, and by us both doing, you know, these different things, and we were both listing, we were both shipping, we were both selling, and we were both doing all of this on this one account on his store. While we were doing that in that week, we had an $11,000 week. Now, $11,000 in 1 week, that's not, you know, we're not talking millions, but we are talking a buttload of money, especially if we kept that consistent. We didn't keep that consistent all the time. Once we got past that week, then we rolled into the next week. The next week we had some goals. We were doing this, that, and the other. And then after that, we squashed things and moved on. And he went his way, I went my way. And I continued to grow my business. He continued to grow his business. But we were more productive in that week, just being willing to be flexible, him do things his way, me do my things my way. And we all incorporate those things in this one store. So, like I said, I'm starting this series. What we're going to do is we're going to break it down into different sections, different categories. Don't miss out. Stay tuned. Be sure you like, subscribe, ding the bell, get your notifications because you don't want to miss out. And if you want to do a reselling business, I'm going to break it down for you. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into all the aspects, and I'm going to help you from ground up because you know what? For me, ultimately, there's enough money out there for everybody. So let's all get a piece. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy, and I'm out.